Allow me to reintroduce myself.
You are now tuning in to the Snap Call Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Snap Call Podcast. I'm Hector.
I'm Ice.
And I am Fernando.
And it is the first Ship It In Deep Stack tournament of the year for 2025. Have we done a podcast? This is the first podcast as well?
The first podcast of the year.
Yeah, we're starting off strong. We have 50,
Record-breaking.
Yes, we have 59 entrants for the first tournament. Our record was 49, so
49.
It's been smashed. A few shy of a 10K prize pool, but yeah, we're sitting over 3,300 for first. It's going well. All three of us got to play. Fernando didn't play.
I
this
didn't
one.
play. I think Xavier's still in it, still in the fight.
Xavier's in the final 17 right now. So, but we'll get updates and do that as we go along. So right now we wanted to start off with some sports. So just because me and Xavier played some golf yesterday, I wanted to do this Bryson DeChambeau that he was getting his Mr. Beast on video. I don't know if you guys saw that. And he was just giving away money. Like, hey, if you make this putt, you make this, you win this hole against this random person. Here's 10K. If they lost, he still gave him a K.
Wasn't he giving like 100K?
Yeah. Well, so that's the big one. So earlier in the year, he did a challenge of trying to hit a hole-in-one over his house, 95 yards, I believe, and it took him 16 days, 134 shots in total. It took him to actually do it. So, he got a guy, and he said, hey, I'm going to give you 8 hours or 7 hours, whatever it was, and just as many times as you need it to make it. The guy did it in 6 minutes.
Wow.
In 5 shots, and he was just dumbfounded.
Do you think the money that they're given, is that like going to be like taxed or it's under the table?
You're 1099 in that, and you're getting all of it, and then you're doing your taxes at the end of the year, and you're getting that big hit.
And Bryson writes it off. So
Yeah.
Do you think you all could do it?
yeah, I can.
8 hours?
I can drill a golf hole right through his house, through those windows.
Yeah, he had some net returns that were trying to protect his house if it went low, but there was still a lot of margin for error. So I'm pretty sure he was a little selective with who he picked to do that challenge, like someone who maybe is has some skill, and it wasn't just like a Joe Schmo off of the driving
But I mean,
range.
it should be a Joe Schmo.
Right?
It should be a Joe Schmo.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing that I would pick is I would want him to just go to a random course and just pick people at random. But he just showed up with some people, and I guess you do want to make it, like fair. Like if you're putting you and you together, but you're scratch and you're like plus 30,
Which I've
obviously he's gonna win. You know what I mean?
never played golf in my life. I've gone to a driving range, but never.
I get it. I don't even want to get too much into it. I just thought it was a really cool video. So
That whole challenge was cool. Like the amount of views he was getting. There was one guy that would constantly put like day one of asking if you can just like put a golf ball right through the window of your house. Like, so it was pretty cool. Like I like that challenge.
One of the things I found funny was that he was giving away, like some challenges were like, I'll give you $1,000, right? And if he didn't get it, he got a box of protein bars. And I was just like, oh man, like give me $100.
I wouldn't say no.
Yeah, I'll
protein
take
bars.
it. Yeah, I mean the video was sponsored by the protein. I think it was Hershey's. It was like their brand of protein bar. So I'll give him that. But it was a very entertaining video. So. But moving on, football.
We will shift some gears into some college football.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys feeding my golf enthusiasm for there. But, I'm going to let you guys talk football.
I'll start with, it's heartbreaking for me to see my Oregon Ducks get obliterated. We literally got obliterated by Ohio State. I had a feeling they were going to lose anyway, just because, we won the first game at home. And Ohio State just got hot when they needed to, and it's unfortunate. But Notre Dame played Penn State. To me, I thought Penn State was going to win, and surprisingly, Notre Dame won. I thought Penn State played a lot better than Notre Dame for the majority of the game, but we all know how sports goes. Ice, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so the Notre Dame Penn State game was actually a really good game. obviously the quarterback of Penn State made some bad throws. Like he threw like 2 picks that got called back too by flags, and then the last one over the middle was just a terrible throw. That's just the common rule as a quarterback. Like if you're late in the game and you're in field goal range and you like bail out the pocket, like you can't go over the middle. And then they just set up a Notre Dame field goal. Honestly, like Xavier said, and a lot of people hated on Xavier for his comment, but he said Penn State can never win the big games.
No, they can't,
Here
unfortunately.
it is, you know.
Oregon, same.
Yeah, and give credit to Notre Dame because they showed up, but at the same time, it's just like Penn State had this game. They were up 10-3 at the half, and they just, quarterback didn't play like he was supposed to.
They didn't. I was watching the game. Like, I was watching the game also playing on my phone. But every time that I was watching the game, I'd see just, like, there's no hope for Notre Dame. And then all of a sudden, they're coming back. But Ohio State, Texas. Texas gave a way better fight than Oregon did against Ohio State. But I'll go back to the saying that Ohio State got hot at the right moment, and they're unstoppable. I don't see Notre Dame beating
Yeah,
Ohio
so
State.
the Ohio State, when they put the belt to AWS on Oregon, it was unbelievable. Like, they just set themselves up right there because, obviously the first matchup was a close matchup. Ohio State lost by 3, but Oregon was also home. So now it's just like Ohio State lost to Michigan. Oregon's the number 1 seed.
Yep.
Just to come out,
I mean,
slinging the ball. It's like Ryan Day knows his job is on the line, so he's like, let's just open up the pass game. And then that was pretty bad whipping on Oregon. And then
no, it was bad.
they they beat Texas, so they eliminated the last SEC school, which is great for for us, like Big 12 and other conferences, just because SEC, they're great. It's a great conference, but at the same time, sometimes they get too much credit. They don't respect the other conferences as well too. But yeah.
So the championship game is Notre Dame versus Ohio State.
Yep.
When's this?
January 20th.
January 20th.
So
okay.
Predictions, what you have?
I'm gonna say Ohio. Unfortunately, Ohio State, 35-7.
Oh wow.
Hey. It's a spanking.
Yeah, I'm going Ohio State.
I hope I'm wrong.
I am actually going a closer game. I'm going 27-24. Notre Dame got really good defense, and I just think they're well coached. They're going to do enough not to get blown out like Oregon. See that jab there? But at the same time, I think Ohio State got too much talent. And right now, talent is paying off.
Let me ask some questions here then. Who's higher ranked out of the two?
Texas.
Texas?
No, excuse me.
I mean,
When I say
Ohio
Texas,
State or
Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's higher. What are the numbers? Do you know?
I don't recall.
1 and 2, something like that.
Notre Dame really only lost 1 game, and that was to Northern Illinois, and they lost on a last-second field goal. They also don't play the same competition as Ohio State.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Ohio State also, the only bad loss they had was to Michigan.
Okay, so Notre Dame ranked higher.
Yes.
Who has the better defense?
Ohio State got, for me, the better everything, just because they got more talent.
They're
They got a few guys on defense going in the first round.
Okay.
They got a few guys on offense as well that are draft eligible. They got one of the best running backs in the league. They got
wide
freshman
receiver.
receiver. That's unstoppable.
Well, you sold it for me there then. Ohio State for me.
But it's football, so it's just like
Yeah.
Ohio State did lose to Michigan, so it's just like at the same time as this game is going to be too big for Ryan Day.
Yeah.
So, but not taking nothing away from Notre Dame, but I think Ohio State right now is too talented.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, as much as I don't know, what I've always seen, especially in championship games, is the team that has like all the offense gets shut down by a team with a plan and who had a better defense.
Yeah, well, no.
So that's why I'm saying it. That's why I was like, those are the questions that ask. Like, hey, if both of these guys are prepared, can their defense hold their offense? And it seems like what you're saying is that they have all the tools. Will it happen? We'll see.
So going to the next topic, but it kind of like jumps into what I was saying with the SEC. We have Carson Beck, quarterback from Georgia, hit the transfer portal.
Ex-quarterback.
Yeah, ex-quarterback, and he committed with the University of Miami. What's your thoughts on that?
He's not going to win nothing with Miami. you know, as much as Mario Cristobal. I do like Mario Cristobal, but it's not going to win nothing with Miami. So I think we all can say, and I think the majority of everyone, even in social media, it was all driven by his girlfriend that goes to the school.
Yeah, so I feel like Carson Beck hit the transfer portal, and I think the money was there for Miami, just because Cam Ward's going to the NFL, probably top 5 pick, and his girlfriend does go there. But at the same time, if he didn't win with the University of Georgia, you're not going to win with Miami. You might compete maybe for the ACC, depends on the transfer. But for me, he was never a great quarterback. I think the reason he looked so good sometimes was because he had elite receivers and Georgia had one of the best defenses. So at the same time, it's just like sometimes the quarterback's not really too good. It's just the team he's in is really good. That makes him look good. But he didn't play good at all this year. So, and honestly, Miami for me, the fans really kind of rubbed me wrong with Miami. So for me, I hope they lose.
I thought you were a Dolphins fan, though.
No.
I haven't heard much noise from Miami in the last couple of years, like for college.
No, it's been a long time.
Because they suck.
It's been a long time for them.
They sucked the last 10 years, but this year they were actually pretty decent, and then they were complaining that they didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, you had tough losses, and at the same time, some of the wins you had were like real close, like the game against Cal and Virginia Tech, I believe. You barely won. So it's just like, I don't know, ACC is not as strong. So
that's what it used to be.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's step it up a little bit. Go from college to NFL.
Yes.
Before we go to NFL,
Sorry, go ahead.
what do you guys, Fernando? What do you think of the transfer portal? Is it good for college? Is it bad for college?
Could you explain
So
it to me?
it's always a double-edged sword. So to me, it's a double-edged sword because it's good because you have some star players, let's say that are in Tulane or at SMU, that have the opportunity to go to a better, bigger school that they didn't have before, and then they're studs. But at the same time, when you factor in recruiting, before you used to recruit, and you would develop your players. Now, these players that are coming in, 5 stars, 4 stars that go to their respective school are not starting because you have other starters already, and then they're just going to be in the transfer portal again. So it's just, I mean, it's good in the sense that players have the ability to kind of go where they want to go, but in the nitty-gritty, schools are not going to be allowed to kind of really develop their players.
So basically, like the transfer portal, like before, if you were a college player and you commit, for example, to the University of Florida, right, and then the freshman year you didn't play or whatever, and then you didn't get along with the coach, you couldn't just transfer to another school. Like the coach had to sign the waiver. There was a story of Cam Newton that he wanted to play or like kind of be like a role player behind Tebow. Kind of like Tebow was when Leak was there, but that wasn't him and Urban Meyer didn't get along like that. So like Urban Meyer said, okay, I'm not giving you a transfer. I'm not signing your transfer to any FCC school. And at that time, SEC was like the school.
Yeah.
So Cam Newton had to go to JUCO for a year, and then he was able to transfer to Auburn.
Okay.
But now with the transfer portal, like if you're a freshman, right, you don't like the system, you have a good year.
Yeah.
Like say for example, you have a good year at UCF, right? You hit the transfer portal, and then teams can start offering you money because now the players get paid.
Okay.
So just like if you go to UCF, right, and you have a monster year, right, you're a quarterback, and you hit the transfer portal, and then all of a sudden Oregon's like, hey, we give you $3 million a year to play.
Yeah.
You
So
can go.
Essentially a free agent in college.
Yeah, and you can hit the transfer portal. So it's just like, I think it's good just because.
Do you give anything up?
No.
Are they forced to give anything up? Like any, I guess, money that they were offered when they first.
Depends on the deal they sign. Yeah.
All right.
But,
There's something every day.
I think it's good. I think it's good just because
No, that sounds good.
there's too much money in college football. So you have to pay the players, but at the same time, some of the players they kill themselves when they go in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
Because sometimes they don't have good work ethic or they're not responsible, and then they transfer and they think it's better at another school, and they end up just burying themselves. So
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, a lot of times it's chemistry, and if you just don't have it off of the first person you picked, but that was the school you fell in love with, now you have no future.
And the reason I'm okay with it is, for example, Carson Beck, he's not an NFL quarterback for me. So, like, if he was in college, he played 4 or 5 years, whatever, he didn't get paid, that's it. So,
Yeah. Ice had to step out, so now we got Fernando and Xavier, who just finished his 10th place, finishing the ship it in. So we'll get to that. But yeah, let's kick it off right where we were. NFL playoffs. Right now, the Chargers and Texans are playing. What do you guys have?
So we were going to do predictions prior to the game starting, but it looks like it's going now. So the score is 10-7 at the half. Texans over the Chargers right now. It looked like the Texans didn't have any life
for all of a sudden.
For pretty much until about 6 minutes until the half ends, and then they scored 10 straight unanswered points. So prior to the first half, I was going to go Chargers to win this game. Better defense, in my opinion, better offense, but
it doesn't look that way. However, I will say, I will still think the Chargers will win tonight.
Yeah, I think I think the Texans there got 2 good drives, but for the most part, the Chargers have been holding them down for the most part. So I think the Chargers will eventually win this game. All it's going to take is a Herbert drive and a field goal. I think that's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. Field goal, and that's exactly what the spread is at. 2.5 with the Chargers favored. So, oh my God, I just hit a button in my
I would do my wife's pick and say the Chargers because I like their colors more.
Okay. There you go. Tonight, big playoff game, divisional game essentially. You got the Steelers versus the Ravens. Ravens are about like a 9.5, 10-point favorite tonight. No respect for the Steelers in the playoffs, even though it's technically a divisional game.
It is.
What's your prediction on that game? How do you see that game going?
So, unpopular opinion, but I see the Steelers actually beating the Ravens. I know Russell Wilson he's been good. The last couple of games he's been a little rocky, but I think they'll pull it together tonight. So I got the Steelers.
Okay. And colors?
Yeah.
No, I mean
black and purple versus black and gold.
I mean,
Black and yellow.
Steelers is Pittsburgh, right?
Yep.
So PA closer to Jersey. So
Yep.
But also Rutgers, Ray Rice, Baltimore. Even all of his stuff happened, I still always kind of rooted for him.
Still living in the past.
Yeah. That's all I got, man. But so either way, I don't care. Yeah. I don't care who wins this one.
I got you.
I think there's more Pittsburgh Steelers fans in Orlando that I know.
I would say so. Steelers fans are everywhere.
Yeah, I've seen
very storied franchise.
Steelers jerseys here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, I've been harsh on Lamar all season, and I think he's gonna do what they need to do to get by this game. I think it's gonna be a little bit closer than most people think. I do think the Ravens win this game, but if he runs into Josh Allen, if he runs into Patrick Mahomes at any point during the playoffs, which is very likely, I don't see him winning that game. So I'll give the Ravens the nod today, but I don't see Lamar, coming over that hump, right? I don't think he has a playoff win under his belt just yet. He probably gets it tonight, but I don't see them winning their next one, regardless of who they play. Broncos-Bills tomorrow. Bills heavily favored against the Broncos. Josh Allen, pretty much the leader right now in the MVP race. Versus a very impressive Bo Nix and Broncos defense. I'm going to guess that you're going to go Broncos there.
No. So, I do love Bo Nix, Troy Franklin, but, can't go against the Bills in this one.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be not close. I think the Bills are going to run over them, honestly. Josh Allen's going to have a Josh Allen's performance, and it's not going to be necessarily close. Any predictions on this game?
Buffalo's just so far, man. It's so far in New York that I liked Denver when I went, and I saw the stadium, so probably Broncos. That's as far as I go with that.
I gotcha. A game that honestly, if the underdog here, if there's any underdog, I think for this first wild card weekend, that can pull out a W. I think it's this team. It's the Packers versus the Eagles. I think the Packers have an outside chance to beat the Eagles. Eagles offense has stalled a lot of times during the season. Jalen Hurts coming off of a concussion. All it could take is him getting rocked one time, and the next thing you know, Kenny Pickett's in there. So I'm not going to choose the Packers to win, but if I had to choose one upset for this weekend, I would go with the Packers.
I have the Eagles, Saquon Barkley. I mean,
You got to go with the Eagles there.
he's unstoppable right now. Even though I'm a Giants fan and I don't like the Eagles, but I don't see anyone stopping Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, there you go. Same thing. I'm more Giants and Jets, being North Jersey, but half of Jersey likes the Eagles. Since Philly's so close, and I know they won the Super Bowl, and got there a couple times in the last couple of years. So Eagles sound like a safe bet.
Yeah, I think Eagles eventually pull it out. I just wouldn't be surprised if the Packers pull something out. Jordan Love can either be complete hot garbage or he can throw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns. But the Eagles arguably have the strongest defense in the playoffs this year, so it'll be interesting. The music kicks on today. Finally kicks on. The only local game, somewhat local, here in Tampa, we're going to have the Commanders versus the Bucks. A revitalized Baker Mayfield's going to be facing the Commanders, led by a rookie who's been nothing but amazing,
Lighting it up.
Jaden Daniels. So this could go either way. Do you lean on any team
Yeah.
here?
So I earlier was saying it's a toss-up, but I'll go local and I'll go with the Bucks.
Bucks.
Yep, Bucks. I mean, I just like when Tampa goes crazy and they get their wins. It's they've been winning with when Brady came, and then they've been winning in hockey, and the Tampa just goes crazy. So I just enjoyed to see that. So yeah, Buccaneers.
Yeah. I mean, I think we kind of got to go for the local squad here.
Yep. Not like Orlando has a team.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially our Orlando team, unfortunately. The Bucks. It's kind of hard not to like the Bucks. It's kind of hard not to like someone like Baker Mayfield, who's always getting fired up. I think you got to go with the Bucks here. Home field advantage. It's probably gonna be a close one, but I think the Bucks will eventually pull it out. And then last game, Monday Night Football, Vikings versus the Rams. Vikings could have had the bye this week.
They could
but
have.
They played horrendous last week against the
Lions.
Yeah. So instead, they're on the road against the Rams. And this game is actually interesting because it's not going to be played in L.A. with all the fires. They're actually going to be playing this game in Arizona.
Yep.
So thoughts on that?
As horrendous as the Vikings did against the Lions, I still see Sam Darnold pulling it together, Justin Jefferson doing a lot better. I have the Vikings in this one. The Rams,
Chargers with a fumble recovery. Just want to throw that out there.
Rams, Cooper Kupp, great receiver, but the last few games he hasn't been throwing the ball.
Yeah.
I got Vikings.
Yeah, I think the Rams are one of those teams. Stafford can have a vintage performance, and he can lead them against a very good Vikings team. But I'm gonna go Vikings on the road. Probably the only road team outside of the Chargers to win this week because they're not on the road anymore. It's a neutral field, right?
Yep.
There's a lot of Vikings fans out there. The Rams, even though they play in LA, they're not. They don't have true fans, right? Because they came from St. Louis right before that. So neutral field. I'm gonna go with the Vikings. Well coached. I'm gonna take a shot at that one.
Vikings sound good. I mean, I think I would normally pick the Rams, but because of LA and everything, I just figure, they got a lot on their minds.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it'll be motivation that they need a win, and they are professionals, so maybe they can focus. But I just feel that's a lot going on. So let's give the razor's edge to the Vikings.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. You don't think too much about the fact that they got a lot on their minds, right? I mean, for instance, JJ Redick, he's got to coach the Lakers team, and he just had his house burned down.
Yeah.
So it's very possible that a lot of these guys are affected by this, but they could also be playing with a little bit extra motivation, right? Play for the city of LA and go from there. So could potentially be the game of the week because it could go a lot of different ways.
Between that one and Ravens and Steelers, I mean, Well, yeah, because I guess because of the factor of now being in LA.
Ravens and Steelers. I mean, divisional game.
Yeah, that's
It might get gritty. It might get
yeah, that might be the
and you don't know what Russell Wilson you're gonna get sometimes, right?
exactly. Yeah, that's the the tough part. I mean, I like him because I like the Seahawks as well, but you hit the nail on the head. You don't know which Russell Wilson you're gonna get.
No. And I hope we get a vintage Russell Wilson because, I got a lot of heat on YouTube when I was dogging Lamar. And if he doesn't, I picked him to win this game. But if he doesn't, you best believe I'm going to sound off.
Russell Wilson, 537 yards, 32 for 32.
This is the Ravens game to lose. It's going to come down to the biggest X factor in any game, and that's going to be Lamar Jackson if he's in the game.
Yep.
If he has a bad game, he's not going to hear the end of it. He's got to get that monkey off his back, get that first playoff win. So, all right. So that's some NFL topics there. So poker. Do we want to talk about the Snap Call tournament now that I'm out?
Yeah, we could do that now.
Okay.
Let's jump in.
Okay. Did you guys talk about it before?
We did, but it was we're doing it for the first time for our viewers.
Okay.
All right. So first, we want to say it's the first tournament of the year. No, I said that at the beginning, but with that, we've had the biggest turnout that we've ever had with 59 runners.
Almost had 60.
Almost had 60.
Could have had 60.
Could have had 60.
Someone was playing PLO.
Yeah, but 59 runners, which is amazing. So thank you all. Thank you all the players at Orange City and everyone that's helping. Behind the scenes and all that. It's great to see that the Ship It In is growing and people are really coming out for it.
Yeah.
So with that being said, all three of us played in this one. We did have a last longer between me and Xavier, and I don't appreciate the disrespect that I got, that there were 5 votes and none of them were for me. Apparently, I didn't even vote for myself, which, I forgot to do that part. But, yeah, either way, you guys were all correct. I made it, so I busted out first. I'll throw that out there. Actually, no, wait.
I did.
Ice busted out first.
Ice.
Let's go with Ice first.
Late regged, and he busted out first.
Yeah, I registered end of level 2, flopped the set, and then 4-way to the straight on the river. So lost. I think I lost the minimum. Didn't lose too much there. Could have got a lot worse. And then just lost a couple fips. 10s versus ace 4. I got all the way down to 700. I brought it all the way up to 11,100. And then ran Jackson to Queens. Nothing we could do about it. Jumped to play some cash games, see how I do there. By the time I realized it was too late. But if not, what I registered would be that 60th entry. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so I jumped in and I just had to beat level 2. That was the goal. I've only played one Ship It In out of the 4 we've had now, and it was a horrible entry. So anyway. Sit down and Poker Ski Michael, nice guy, I just met him today, was to my left. And so what do you call it? Xavier recognized him right away. So I was like, okay, so he's someone to look out for. So I was going to be a little bit cautious with him on my left. But I didn't have to for too long because level 1, he went all in and got busted out. And he ended up back at my table at like seat 3, and I was like seat 6, so he was now to my right, so I was good. But yeah, I remember Ice talking about like, hey, most of the you don't need the push action because everyone's aggressive enough as it is. So I kind of let the game come to me. There was I was card dead, level 1, level 2. I hit a flush and I didn't raise on the river because I knew only a better flush was going to call or raise. So. But got a little chipped up there. Ended the level 4 pretty much with starting stack. I had a nice bluff on that last hand before the break. First hand after the first break, I get 10s under the gun. I get a shove in for like 12K. I had 25K or 24K, something like that. I call, and 10s versus 4s. She gets a 4 on the flop, so that put me at like 15K. I was card dead for the next 40 minutes, just waiting for my spot. Finally get pocket 8s, middle position. I shove, and Poker Ski, he calls me, and he has pocket 7. So I'm ahead there, and 7 on the flop as well. I did have a straight up and down straight draw, but that didn't come. So yeah, I was never, I was always ahead every time I played, and it just wasn't in the cards for me today. But I'm happy with the way I played, and I was out level 6, I want to say. So with that, the winner of the last longer is Mr. Real Banksy.
Yeah.
Tell us how you did it.
I'll be honest. I ran really good early on in the tournament. I didn't really come across any hands that required a lot of tough decisions. I picked up a ton of hands. I probably had ace jack at one point, like 3 out of 5 hands, and hit an ace every time. Like it was nice. The problem was I didn't get a lot of value, and we're talking level 1 and 2 of a tournament. So I was able to capitalize on that. On that first buy-in that we had the last longer on, I peaked at like close to 60,000 or so. Busted, I think, level 8 right before late reg closed. So won that last longer, ended up rebuying, and almost made the final table on the rebuy. Literally first hand. The video's up on our YouTube. Tripled up with a nasty flush, cracked aces, and this guy had, I don't know what he was doing over here, top pair, top kicker,
pair, yeah.
or top pair with a 9 kicker. But like I said, didn't know what he was doing because he should be putting his chips at risk right there. But regardless, I mean, there wasn't too many decisions to make today. Didn't feel like I was just doing anything beyond ABC poker, to be honest with you. I just got blinded out the last 40 minutes, shoved 2 hands out of maybe 3 or 4. Ice was there, like in a 4-hand range. I pushed small blind on 1, took down a little bit, and then I pushed on the button, or I don't know what I was, but got caught with an ace queen versus my king jack. We both flopped the top pair, and that's all she wrote. So I was trying to live out my baby stack so I can hit the final table. But obviously I was looking for a double. Didn't want to wait around too long. So But like I said, I mean, I wish I had more hands to talk about. I busted my first buy-in with my queens versus kings. That's poker. I'm not even upset about something like that. That is what it is. So
Yeah, I'm very happy with how cognizant I was of my what do you call it, image at the table. You know, like I knew, like, hey, level 1 I was card dead, and I was like, and I hammed it up of how I lost level 2 the last one. You know, so I was like this guy's easy money type thing, and I kind of played into that for a while. So like, hey, any like aggression, you know, I would fold and kind of make it seem like, hey, I'm scared to play type thing, and it definitely worked in my favor in certain spots where I needed folds, and you know, there was a big bluff that I got through, but also just, you know, it made stealing a lot easier as well later on when I needed it to. So I enjoyed that part, that I was like, all right, I am focused on like how I'm being viewed as opposed to like how they're playing.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I would say the one thing that worked in my favor early on when I was taking down a lot of hands was I probably looked over aggressive, and people probably felt like they had to watch out for me.
Yeah.
But the truth was, you know, I'm
just had
raising
it.
with a big ace. I'm hitting an ace. I'm gonna bet out. So I think it helped my you know, my or however you want to say, my image at the table. But it wasn't like I was going out of my way to do that. I just was playing ABC poker, and that's what you do at an ace in that spot. So, but it garnered me respect down at the end of the day, because even on my second buy-in, I was at the same table again. So people kind of knew. Plus, you know how it is. People find out you're a bounty at the podcast. They respect you because they know you know poker.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you get a little disrespect, and people are like, I want your bounty chip.
Exactly.
So, it is what it is. It makes the tournament fun.
Agreed.
This one hand, there's not really too much hands I played just because I wasn't there for a long time. But I guess pocket 10s against ace 4. Guy raised, I re-raised him, and then he calls. No, he rips it, not that much more, and I call. I think it was like for 14, 15K total. And it was a flip, ace 4 versus 10s. He hits an 8, so I felt like maybe I could have not played that hand so aggressive. But then after that, everything else was just like, you know, ABC. Like, I'm got 11K. I probably got 6 big blinds left. I got jacks, got a shove, you know. Ran into queens. You know, last tournament, had aces, and I cracked, had aces, and the guy had queens. So, like, you know, I'm on the other end of it this tournament. So it's just like, it is what it is. And the other tournament I'm talking about was the Moneymaker event. that we played. Can't do anymore. Like, just didn't get hands, and then the hands I got, tough loss. Maybe that tens versus ace. I could have maybe not play that too aggressive, maybe see the flop, but
Yeah.
I kind of knew he didn't have a higher pocket pair, but it is what it is. Flips, you got to win your flips.
Yeah, so currently we have 7 runners still going. The final table is still happening right now. It's level 17 with 10 minutes to go. Top 6 are going to get paid, with the first getting paid $3,300, which is awesome. So just want to throw that out there. They're still going, and this is the first time doing it live during during the actual tournament, which has been fun. Everybody's enjoying themselves. Everybody's talking and commenting how they want to come to the next one. And asking us about our stuff, getting immersed. So we appreciate all the support and everyone showing out.
Yeah, absolutely. So poker news wise, you guys didn't cover this, right?
Yeah, let's do all that.
Okay, so Jeremy Ausmus wins the Poker Go Player of the Year with 2,966 points. Negreanu was in second with a little over 2,000. Overall, Jeremy had 7 final tables this summer, but didn't win a bracelet, and that's why Scott Seaver ended up winning the WSOP Player of the Year.
Won 3.
My first impression of seeing Jeremy Osmus's name there, not surprised. One of probably the best players in the world, but I would say one of the more underappreciated players. You don't really hear people bring up Jeremy Ausmus often, but definitely a respected player in the poker game.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, no surprise there. He's a crusher. Maybe if he had completed maybe one brace out of the 7 final tables last year, possibly his name would have been a little bit more rung around the poker news, but everybody knows he's a crusher.
Yeah.
Honestly, no surprise there.
We talked about it earlier. I don't know the criteria for the Poker Go Player of the Year points, and how vastly different it is from WSOP Player of the Year and the GPI Player of the Year. So Jerry Ausmus was up there for WSOP, and that's where most of his points are coming from. But Negreanu wasn't in the top 10 for WSOP Player of the Year. And so, how is he second here? I'm just curious. Obviously, he did good in something. I just don't, what are they basing this off of? So that's something to look into, but I don't know if you guys know offhand. I don't know what events Poker Go is going off of.
Yeah, I mean, I think they factor a lot in. I mean, Poker Go has their entire own series. They had a whole PLO series alone. So I don't know what the formula looks like, but of course they're going to be taking those events into account. So however they come up with those points is what it is. I think just it's one of those things, right? You're seeing some of the best players at the top of any leaderboard, and that just goes to show, the consistency, right? That a lot of these players are bringing into their game. They're working on their game consistently. Even though Negreanu finished second in the Poker Go standings and maybe not necessarily great in the WSOP tournament, it's just nice to see Negreanu still putting in reps outside of the WSOP itself.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, what a pick from the Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry. So yeah.
He's still going. I thought he was down by contact. No,
He just took out his kneecap. Let's go.
Down at the 30, 28.
Yeah, so I have a question with this. So, Poker Go does the WSOP. Right? You have to subscribe.
Yeah.
Now they throw in their own tournaments.
Yeah.
So, are you WSOP? Do you find somebody else to do it live? Because that's competition.
I mean,
Because WSOP has their circuit series, and then they have their other series as well, too. So now you got Poker Go trying to get into it as well, too.
I think the only reason if I'm WSOP, I'm not going to find someone else is mainly because those Poker Go tournaments aren't low buy-ins. They're high roller tournaments for the most part.
Yeah.
A lot of these WSOP ring events are not, they're for the everyday guy like us, So
Besides the WSOP Paradise.
besides that,
Yeah.
yeah.
So-
But I don't think those tournaments were running at the same time, though. So I can see if there was a conflict of interest if they were running at the same time, but because they appeal to a Negreanu and a Jeremy Ausmus, I think it's their way of saying, let's give these high rollers tournaments throughout the year that are going to be aired all the time. And honestly, it's probably part of their agreement with WSOP to probably stream X amount of events to feature people like Negreanu. Because you got to remember, too, Negreanu, a GG Poker affiliate, part owner, all those things. So they're gonna push WSOP on Poker Go regardless.
I want to see how it is this year with GG Poker owning it. Just because, WSOP, they don't put no guarantees on anything besides a millionaire maker and stuff like that. And they crush every tournament. So
Yeah.
it's just a money pit. Like, not money pit, but just like a printing machine of money, the WSOP. So
Yeah.
I don't even think they care personally, but that'd be interesting.
Yeah, WSOP is Disney. It's too big. Like everybody's trying to be WSOP, and you're just not going to. That is the series of the year.
Yeah, because other tournaments like Venetian, even the moneymaker, they have to put a guarantee so that people could get there. WSOP got no guarantees. Like,
Yeah, they're gonna get their share of the market no matter what. But like you said, all of these other tournaments that are gonna have a good turnout, their value comes in offering a guarantee, so you at least know, should I even waste my time going over there? But yeah, that'll be interesting what the summer looks like. Hopefully, we'll be able to know firsthand because we'll be there.
Yeah. So a little bit. I know we talked about the LA fires there, and so a lot of poker players playing out west. So I saw a picture of it was Jennifer Tilly and Phil Lochte. I guess they evacuated to the Commerce Casino. So I guess they're playing it up there, and I saw James Woods, who always at the WSOP and signing Hades pops and stuff. That his house burnt down. So just all well wishes to all the poker players and just anybody in general. And if they told you to evacuate, I hope you have already, and that you're staying safe.
Yeah, just unfortunate tragedy that's going on there. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Poker's really big out there, and obviously it's more about the people, and the people that are being displaced from their homes and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I have seen some poker players post online about offering their homes. Like Justin Smith posted something. He said, if you've been displaced, let me know. I might have a place for you to stay at. So, just like any community, right? It's about coming together at this moment in time.
yeah, just sad all around. A lot of people losing a lot of houses, lives. Just stay safe out there, everybody in LA. I'm more upset at. I used to work at the water company, and I work for a company that does like treatment facility plants and stuff like that. So it's just like you have to have reserves and you have to have water for the situation. So I'm more pissed at that situation as far as like the way they let down the people in LA. But that's a different story. That's a different time. I don't want to get into that, but just everybody stay safe. But that's a sad situation there.
Switching gears, there was a documentary that just came out, Mike Matusow, self-titled Matusow. It's available to buy or rent on Amazon Prime. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but I know you two have, so I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. And what did you think of the documentary?
I thought it was good. There was no surprises to me as to the documentary, right? Like, it covered exactly what I wanted, which is the degenerate that is Mike Matusow, who he is outside of the poker world, and the thoughts of his peers about him. It covered exactly what I thought. Right?
Was there anything you were surprised by?
There wasn't anything I was really surprised by, to be honest. There was a couple anecdotes there in terms of like backing certain players that did well. I thought that was interesting, and I did like that. But truthfully, at the end of the day, like. When you look at all the kind of between the injury that he has and all the medications he's got, like, you can't really feel, like, you feel bad for the guy at the end of the day. Like, I mean, that's a tough life he lives. But then when you go and you think the lifestyle he's had up to this point in his life, he was living like a rock star, So, it's unfortunate the lifestyle that he has now. I think he kind of said himself, like, you kind of take a lot of things for granted, but I don't know. Overall, he's always been good for poker. He's helped elevate poker to where it is. But there wasn't anything in the documentary that made me think, oh, wow, like, I didn't know that type of thing. So
Yeah, so first of all, big shout out Mike Matusow, just filming that and just documenting your life like that. It takes courage, so big shout out for that. And just, giving the poker world some, kind of like poker content, poker films or whatever. What I did find surprising there was the fact that, how he got caught with that drug scandal, and then it was kind of like, oh, he didn't know that guy was on the cover, and then a lot of people stopped talking to him. I think it was more that kind of came off like maybe he snitched on somebody, whatever, to do less time. I find that interesting, like kind of like shady, and then also. Your mom and your brother talk bad about you as far as like not paying back. I can just imagine the other people in the poker industry who he hasn't paid back. And you feel bad for his back injury. You don't want to see nobody health wise. But at the end of the day, like, I think he's like, he was like a shitty human being. As far as like just gambling, just like not paying people back, and just overall, like you can see it, his vlogs and his posts, and he's just like angry all the time and just like pissed off, and like sometimes the way he treats like some of the employees, I like, you saw the clip where he was just throwing it at the person.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like I don't like. You can only feel too bad for somebody like that, and then like for me, he's like begging, kind of like it's like kind of like a begging documentary to like, hey, get me back into WSOP, like, I belong and stuff like that. And it's just like he had mentioned like the peers that vote for him, I guess, for the Hall of Fame are not big fans of him. So just like you're a shitty human being for 10, 15 years, and then you want to say sorry and everybody, forgive you. I think it's like that's not on you, that's on them. Then also like when he paid back Negreanu, it was like he was trying to hug Negreanu and like cry and stuff like that. I can tell Negreanu's face was just like, okay, like, like he didn't know what angle he was coming at. But it got me pumped for WSOP too, just seeing like the grind, like, hey, WSOP, this is what it's about. I thought that elevated it as well too, so I liked it.
Okay.
It's a good watch.
I do think Matusow should be Hall of Fame eventually. But I mean, it's tough. There's just so many great players that are coming up on that age limit now. And if you are, worthy of getting into the Hall of Fame, and it's like you versus Mike Matusow, and you're a nice guy, I mean, I can't see how they don't pick the other guy. You know what I mean? It's like that movie Mr. 3000 all over again. But yeah, I mean, from what he's done, what he's accomplished, as much as I enjoyed watching him back then, like none of that really surprises me. So I am interested in watching the documentary, and I just haven't had time for it yet. But yeah, that's everything you said. It sounds exactly what I would think it would be.
So like personally, I don't think right now he's really to be in the Hall of Fame just because he had won some bracelets in the past, some WPT stuff, finished second or whatever. But he had a big gap of like not winning anything, and he's not really in the high roller scenes either. And then he's more of a mixed game player, which is fine, but it's just like it's not. I don't feel like he's been consistent for 15, 20 years to be in the Hall of Fame. It was like earlier on, and then he died off. And then now you look at Seaver and all these guys winning multiple bracelets, and
They raised the bar of what it.
they raised the bar of the
what it
Hall of
should be.
Fame, and I feel like that's they got to make it prestige now. There's so many people playing. I feel like you have to put the lead of the lead. You just can't be like, hey, like you have to be consistent. I feel like more than 15, 20 years to be in the Hall of Fame, personally.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I mean, I think that's my battle with these things, right? When we talk about if someone deserves something.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, it comes down to too much, like, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Right? If you look at his resume, it's like it's almost like we're holding against how good he was and successful early, and now he hasn't done anything.
What's his send amount? Look up his send amount real quick. I don't know how much he won total.
I need the keyboard.
You know how many bracelets he has? I don't know offhand.
4, I think.
4?
So I think that he wanted to get that 5th one, and that 5th one was pretty much like.
I need the keyboard. I think I can't do it without the thing.
Gotcha.
Do you have your phone? Look up on your phone.
Bring the keyboard in.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's unfair to hold. Like, if he has 4 bracelets, and let's say he hasn't won one in 10 years,
Yeah.
it's unfair to say, well, people are winning more nowadays.
Yeah.
True. But are we
there's
gonna
more.
hold the 4 that he's
Yeah.
won before against him? Like,
Yeah.
so I just think that's a hard thing to judge him on, right? Because I guarantee you, there's people in there that probably don't have 4. You know what I mean?
4 is very impressive, especially considering there were a lot less events per year that he could even play, in the 90s, and in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, maybe it was smaller fields, maybe it wasn't as tough competition, but I think it's two things here. And the number one thing I think that's holding him back is the fact that, like, you've got people probably holding a grudge against him.
Yeah, that's
you
probably
know?
the biggest thing.
But the thing is, you watch the documentary, yeah, there's some people that in the poker world that probably don't like him, but some of the biggest names in a documentary are supportive of him as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know,
He's a great player. So he got 10 million in Hendon Mob.
and how many bracelets?
Yeah.
Does it show?
I mean, all time. How many?
Just Google,
That's got to be
type
pretty
in
high in the
WSOP,
all time.
And then Mike Matusow, and then his profile will pop up. Should be the first link. So click that first one. So
4 bracelets.
he's got 4 bracelets, 5 million in career earnings. To me, that's Hall of Fame worthy. You know, like, again, don't want to hold
Half
what
of
he
his winnings
what he
coming from
hasn't done
WSOP.
recently against him. I think that's a little tough and unfair, I think.
Yeah.
Well, so what's the criteria though? Because you have Patrick Antonius got in last year, and his numbers are outrageous. But then you have a lot of guys coming up that is just like, I think if you let them in, then you have to let everybody else in behind them, like Fedor, Chewy, all these guys, like a lot.
Yeah.
Just because 10 million is a lot, it's great, but does it put you up on that elite status? Or does 5 bracelet does, or
To me, it's a couple of things. I think it's tournament earnings, you know, because it's kind of hard to put him up against someone like
What's the
Fedor,
criteria?
right? When
What's
Fedor
the criteria for Hall of Fame?
when Fedor has
40?
won bigger buy-in tournaments, right? So like, you know, but Matusow's been playing how much longer, you know, and still relevant.
Yeah, he's 146 all time in the money list. So like, what do you like?
yeah.
He doesn't play high stakes. So what exactly?
But see,
I think the criteria.
That's my problem with that. Is you can win the main event next year and you have as many winnings as he does.
Correct.
So that I find unfair, right? Because then you'll be, let's say you'll be 145.
Yeah.
Should you be in before him? No.
No. Correct.
So since he's, you know, in the last how many years now, you know, you've got a $10 million winner for the WSOP. Not one of those winners should be in before him, but they might have more career earnings than him.
Yeah.
So that's not, I don't think that's a very fair thing to base this off of, because that's not really comparing the right things. Career earnings doesn't make sense to me. But yeah.
So the criteria, I think, I'm just going off of memory, is you got to be at least 40 years of age.
Correct.
You have to have an impact on poker, which is, I think, the biggest part. You know, and you have to be a good winner in either tournament or cash or both. I'm not sure the criteria there, but you know, when we think of the 90s and we think about all those personalities that we liked watching, Mike Matusow was definitely up there. You know, I enjoyed watching high stakes poker when he was on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like he was always a personality to watch, and that's why I feel like he's probably should be there more than, you know, say, you know, a random crusher from today. So that's
Patrick
my thoughts on that.
Patrick Antonius, right? He got in last year. He got into the WSOP Hall of Fame, or he got into the Poker Hall of Fame.
Poker Hall of Fame.
Okay.
We're talking about the Poker Hall of Fame, right? Yeah. He wants to get into the Poker Hall of Fame.
Isn't that the same thing?
I don't know. I just I'm trying to
So
differentiate.
the criteria is be 40 years old at the age of nomination, have played against top competition, have played.
That says the World Series of Poker Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
What do you Poker Hall of Fame? I guess.
That's what I'm saying. I just want to make sure that.
I don't think there's a differentiation.
No, that's what I'm saying. I just want to make sure it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same thing. All right, have played against top competition, have played for high stakes, have consistently played well and earned the respect of their peers, have stood the test of time. The criteria for induction may remain largely unchangeable for almost 20 years.
So, if he wins at anything big, then that would be test of time. Like, since he's doesn't have anything like that, maybe that's the only thing holding him back.
All right, let's see. These are all the ones that got in by years. So Pick a random one and we click on the
Okay.
numbers.
So, for instance, Huckseed. Huckseed's a main event winner,
But he's
but
still,
that was how long ago?
yeah.
So
Huxley, all right, listen.
Huckseed got in,
He's still winning today. Like he's still playing today. You know what I mean?
Four
but he's
bracelets.
not winning big tournaments.
No, but he goes deep and stuff. I just don't.
So this is
know
my thing.
anything
How many
deep that Matsow's done.
how many career earnings does Huckseed have?
That's just WSOP. Let's see
it's just
Hendemount.
WSOP.
Okay.
No, but it's WSOP Hall of Fame. So don't look at Hendemount. Just look at WSOP.
Well, then that Mike Matusow doesn't have 10 million.
No, you pulled up Matusow's WSOP profile.
He had
Oh, I
5
pulled
mil.
up Hendemount. He had 10 million.
No, you
Hendemount.
just pulled up his.
Yeah, he's trying to make a point with just WSOP.
Yeah.
Just WSOP.
Put up Mike. Just put up Mike Matusow's. I just want to see. I know he doesn't have 10 million there, but I just want to see. That's why I want to see. We're
many?
comparing the same exact things here. Because Huxley won the main event in the 90s, you know. But how many bracelets has he won since then? For him to get in 4 years ago.
4 bracelets, 5 million.
Okay. So compared to Huxley, who's probably been playing just as long, if not
116
longer.
cashes.
4
I
bracelets.
mean, 100 cashes is insane. So 116. Yeah.
So like I look at
I think
Huxley
he
getting
has
in 4 years ago.
Mike has all the criteria, and he definitely should be in there. It's just every year is a lot of competition, and I think they only let in like 2, right, out of the nominees. They only bring in 2 people each year or 3 people. I'm not sure what the number is there. You know, so it's just it's a hard spot to get, and if people don't like you, that's
I think
That's
if
gonna
he
be the
doesn't get in,
determining factor.
I think if he doesn't get into this year, obviously he's still playing, so he could win another bracelet. I think it's gonna be a lot harder just because a lot of guys are coming up with more numbers, and obviously by numbers, just because the price, the entrance are a lot, it's more jacked up. Now
Listen,
you get
I'm
in
40
thousands.
this year. So now who's becoming 40 this year? The Tom Dwans. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
the
literally.
online crushers. And those are tough people to beat.
And it sucks, right? Because if he hasn't gotten in at this point, it's only going to get harder. And that was probably the whole point of releasing a documentary, which is like, hey, this is me. I've paid my dues. This is what I'm going through these days. I deserve to be in it. And here's all the people vouching for me. I think he should be in it. I think he's got a really good resume. But if he doesn't get in it here in the next year or two, I don't see him ever getting in. If they're going to base it off of what they have up to this point. But
I think there's the respect of the peers he's not getting. At least the peers in the Hall of Fame. Because just with his numbers, there's no reason why not to vote,
might be getting a phone call.
Yeah. All right, we'll edit that out. Stupid phone.
All right, let's try to wrap it up here with another thing or two.
Yeah.
What did they do? Weren't they about to punt it? Yeah. Oh, they were on defense.
We could wrap it up now though.
Okay.
You know.
I want to know another. I want to also find out. Like, I know he has 10 million, but I want to see how much was it actually like him getting back, for the majority of it.
Yeah.
Because the documentary shows that he went completely broke. So 10 million is a lot,
Yeah.
I know
we know.
sports gambling, and I know a lot of people, have a certain percentage of a lot of people. So
I mean,
be
we know
interesting, too.
very well from Daniel Negreanu's vlogs that you could win a bracelet and $2 million and still be down.
Yep.
So 10 million fueled with drug habits and sports betting and yada yada yada, and can go very quickly.
All right, so last question before we wrap this up. We were looking earlier, right, at celebrities, and recently it's, Timothy Chalamet is all over the news, right? International movie star, super popular, but it came out recently that he's a good poker player, and then it got us thinking, if you had to pick someone, not based on any sort of reputation, just who they are on screen, if you had to pick some sort of celebrity who you think is a great poker player, who would you pick?
I got 2. I think Spider-Man, not Tobey Maguire, but Tom Holland. I think he'd probably be decent at poker. I think
Factors?
I don't know. I just feel like he's got a good if he can curb his like real personality type thing, and and he can play it cool, I think, and you do well. I think it'd be a little tough to read. The other one is Oscar Isaac, Mr. Moon Knight. He's just got a face that it's just you just believe him. He did play that poker movie, which was horrible. Forgot what it was called. With Tiffany Haddish. Oh my God, that was so bad. But totally believable as a poker player if I'm just looking at him in the eyes. He's just got that look. So those are the two that I would believe. I'm trying to go like newer people. I don't want to go older that we know they play.
Yeah. What about you?
Man, you gotta get back to me. I'm thinking here, man. Poker player, celebrity.
Even though I don't like him, mainly because some of the newer stuff that's coming out, and he just kind of comes across as a D-bag now that I really think about it. And I know everyone loves him, but Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
There's something about Ryan Reynolds that, he would probably be a really annoying at the table.
Yeah.
But you just, because he jokes around and plays so much, you just don't know if he has it or not.
Yeah.
I think he would be one of those dudes. And then he was the first one to really pop up that I think could probably be good. Now obviously you got to have a poker mentality and stuff, but as far as like table talk goes, it's like if he's trying to bait you into calling him, he probably can.
Yeah.
Just because of how much he can run his mouth.
Okay. I can see that. I mean, he played pretty good in Mississippi Grind. Love that movie, by the way. That's my number 2 of all time for poker movies.
And then
I'm gonna go.
that's what I would say.
I'm gonna go with 2 guys. I'm gonna go Peyton Manning, just because the way he breaks down film and memorizes everything. I feel like he would kind of like take it serious and just like calculate the odds.
Oh,
and stuff like
they're
that.
playing.
Yeah,
They're playing high stakes.
of course. And then
That big ass head to store all that memory too.
yeah, oh yeah.
He could talk about hands from like 3 years ago in detail.
Yeah, and another one I'm gonna go with JJ Redick. Just watching this podcast with LeBron and just like the way he breaks down plays, just like Manning is just like the memorization and stuff like that. I feel like they'd be good poker players.
Yeah, I could see that. Like as far as players that because they have like the sports background, breaking down plays, they're very analytical. I could definitely see.
Oh yeah, give me Shaq, man.
Shaq's
I think Shaq. Shaq's so rich.
so?
Yeah,
I think Shaq is so rich that he don't care about money, and he so playful that he could just goad you, goad you into calling whatever, and then if he loses, he's like whatever,
Shaq comes across to me as the guy that would probably bust 4 times,
Yeah.
laugh and keep rebuying. I don't know about
Yeah.
skill. I think the skill
Yeah.
might be lacking.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see it. All right, so not a good poker player. He's just someone I probably would enjoy playing with,
Yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know.
But yeah, he's someone who would just keep rebuying until he won an all-in.
All right, so we'll wrap it up there. Next podcast will be in February, February 8th. I think we're shooting for 4 or 4:30.
4 o'clock. To be determined. Either 4 or 12, 10. But so far it's at 4. But we keep you guys updated on that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we got 5 people left here, officially in the money at the in the Ship It In Deep Stack. 3,300 up top. We'll be taking a picture with the winner shortly, and we'll go from there. So.
Yeah. So sorry for all the technical difficulties, everybody, and Happy New Year. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.